Ladies and gentlemen, welcome on in to the PSP Podcast, featuring your friendly host, Percussive173, where PSP stands for Perc Spreads Positivity, where we educate.
The 3 E's, right? You can educate, you can entertain, you can be empathetic.
Have you encountered any gender-related obstacles or biases while building your career in content creation?
I would say the cyber stalking.
By bringing in the best of the best. You still do that, so let's not discount that. So what really made you go into streaming? What was that decision? What was that move that made you make, as I'm very sorry, I know I'm teasing you, but it's literally, it's one of those things that we can do, post everywhere, post often, and do it your own way. And have fun. And have fun and be yourself.
Fine. Have fun, honestly. Like that, I love that so much because it's so true. Like, if you like the content you're making, like if you're watching it and you like it, you're not the only person.
From fitness to establish a new habit or a routine, what is your message to them?
Start with less than you think you need.
Too fitting. Would love to get some tips and tricks of the trade on like how you kind of do things in the cosplay field.
Yeah, I'd love to go into that, especially because like I've done a little bit of everything, right? So I've made some costumes, I've bought some costumes, I have my friends with costumes, I've commissioned costumes, I like craft all kinds of things, but also I wear things. Like there's a whole smorgasbord if I do a little bit of everything when it comes to cosplay.
To VTubing and animation. This is something that I may want to get into. How should they start?
Ooh, I think everyone should start on YouTube. I think YouTube is going to be your best place for launching
metrics that creators should be paying attention to, in my opinion.
Yeah. I think, and like specifically with like VTubing, I think it's, I think all of that is like kind of like the difficulty level is like bumped up to like expert.
And our goal at the PSP Podcast is to educate and inspire aspiring creators. And we are super excited for this week's episode, and we can't wait to see you there. So let's have a freaking party! Ladies and gentlemen, welcome on back to today's episode of the PSP Podcast, where I am your friendly host, Percussive173, and today I've got a guest that brings straight energy, discipline, right to the heart of the streaming world, and I'm talking about Mr. Toriproductionz, a 13-year-old USAF combat veteran, a fitness grinder, and a creator who has been holding down a streaming game for years. And if you guys are not following him, you can always go catch him over on Kick, where he's not just running FPS games and MMORPGs, but he's also keeping it real with the mental health and building a space for community and respect. And I am super excited today to welcome Tori into the PSP Podcast. Tori, how are you doing today?
I'm doing all right. Can't
doing all right?
Another day, new day. Brand new day, brand new time. I do want to point out real quick for all the people who are quick on the pickup. I am not 13 years old. I'm 35. I did 13 years in the Air Force. So
wait, did I say 13-year-old?
You said 13-year-old. So just to clear the record, there's your
I don't even think you can stream at 13 years old.
You can stream at 13, but you can't serve at 13. So.
I have my content brain going on.
That is all.
That's hilarious. That's really funny.
You said, yeah, he's a 13-year-old, veteran. I was like, I don't think that's gonna go over anywhere except maybe China. That's about it.
Maybe China, but
maybe China.
No, but being a 13-year combat veteran is absolutely incredible. It's insane. It's like going through with that. Like I'm sure you have we could talk about those stories forever. But it's really impressive, and we definitely we thank you for your service.
Well, I'd say you're welcome, but I have many thoughts on that topic that I've expressed quite well over the last few years. So for now, I will keep them to myself unless a question is asked. For now.
Hey, that is very valid. Well, Tori, for those who do not know you, those who may not know you, why don't you give us a little talk about who you are in case someone is in here and has no idea who you are?
All right, I'm going to try to keep this short, sweet, and to the point because if I usually my introductions are about an hour and a half long and we get nothing done. Um,
Sure.
my name is my call sign or my name that I normally answer to these days is Tori. As the man said, I have done roughly 13 years of service in the United States Air Force. I am combat related. I have deployed to Afghanistan, Kuwait, Jordan twice for multiple operations. So I am now medically retired. I have been in the streaming business for 4 years, roughly 2 years. Started off on Twitch, doing World of Warcraft rated Battleground, or what we like to call rated PvP, before moving over to Kick in 2023, late 2023, and I've been on Kick ever since. Um, you mentioned mental health advocacy. I am very big on mental health for reasons which I'm sure we will deep dive into a little bit later. Um, the I believe in being yourself. I believe in authenticity and having fun with not only your online family, and I do call my community a family. So let's, if you get confused as to that, no, my sister and my mother do not stream. My online family is the people that I have made friends and relations with over the course of my 10 years streaming. A lot of these fine men and women I have either come to meet or will meet, and they have been behind me and supporting me since I started back in 2021. I do MMORPGs, I do FPS, I do weightlifting, I do just chat. I am literally a variety streamer at its core. Um, and we'll, like I said, we'll deep dive into all that here in a little bit. But thank you for having me on here. Like I said, I am streaming on Kick predominantly these days. Once we have a new rig, which is in works, we will be on all the social medias. May make a return to Twitch. We shall see. Don't hold your breath. But it'll be Kick, YouTube, TikTok. Yes, I finally made a TikTok account. For those of you who know me, you know I've been very vehement against TikTok. Unfortunately, I caved. So we have a TikTok now, and we'll be live on as many platforms as we can once that rig comes in. Right now, I am on a two computer system, but one is a very ancient computer which barely keeps up with chat, and the other one is a Frankenstein which barely keeps up with anything. So we do what we can. The beauty is you adapt, you overcome. So that being said, that is about as short of an introduction I can give without being into the 2 hour long introduction. So, and I'm sure we will cover all of that in due time.
Yeah, absolutely. And like seeing the stuff that you put into place, like I know you're very vocal on your platforms and it's a really awesome thing to see too. You definitely hold no bars, like you say things like you preach authenticity, and we can definitely dive into that because there's a lot of streamers who, especially with this podcast being for new and in aspiring creators, one of the things that they got to understand is that the internet is not really the safest place in the world. And we definitely need to understand as a new and aspiring creator that there are a lot of people who are going to say things just for the content, and they're also just going to say things just to kind of put pieces forward. But you're different. You speak your own mind. You speak in the manner of to allow everybody in, and like people really kind of flock to you for that because you're true to yourself. I've been in a couple of your streams where like you call people out for their bullshit when there's actual bullshit being done, and not just like you trying to do things for drama, where you have other people going around making content that's really focused on the whole drama aspect. And I think that's a really
So
admirable thing.
here's my thing. I have done a lot of self reflection over the course of the last 4 years. When I came over to Kick, because I left Twitch due to Twitch moderation team being very lackluster in their job
Mm-hmm.
of containing hate raids, which for a whole year I had a hate raid from Twitch of people making bots saying that veterans should go kill themselves, that we were all Nazis, that we were Trump puppets, and that I didn't deserve to be alive. And after a whole year of reporting it to Twitch and Twitch doing absolutely nothing, I said, you know what? I'm going to jump over to Kick. I'm going to give it a fresh start. I can't take this no more because I had a lot of IRL issues, which I'm not going to deep dive unless asked into that, that compromised my own personal mental health. And when I came over to Kick, I had a few Twitch people follow me over. Shout out to Jill and Lunar and Moody. Um, and we started up from the ground up. And I started noticing a lot of behavior, and I got involved with people, and they say hindsight is 2020. Now, I will tell you, people appreciate somebody who stays authentic and who doesn't come out here and who doesn't try to butter up to the brass or butter up to other people, and are here solely for themselves, right? But the problem is you're going to find out streaming is very much high school. You are never going to make anybody happy. You're not going to make everybody happy. Not anybody, everybody. You will make you. There will be times where you make people happy, and it'll be the last person you expect, but it may be for the wrong reason. Everything in the streaming world is a literal political campaign almost. If you say certain things, you will not get certain opportunities. If you are very outspoken, people will turn away from you. If you come out and you speak on what has happened to you on a personal level with another creator, depending on how popular that creator is, people will try to cancel you for it because there's no way that that person could be wrong. It is stuff that I've had to deal with over the course of the last couple of years here on Kick. Unfortunately, I've had multiple people try to cancel me. I have had multiple people go out of their way to reach out to my sponsors to cancel me, to terminate my partnerships over the things that I have said. And I have gotten to a point now where I will speak on things if I feel that it's a need to speak on such things. I'm not going to come out here and I'm not going to put names out here because it doesn't accomplish anything. People are always people will always believe what they want to believe to make themselves feel better. That is unfortunately the sad reality of today's climate. So you have to. A lot of people like to come in here and they like to say protect your peace, right? I believe protecting your peace should be able to freely speak your mind with respect to what is going on and being able to get messages across without having to curb stomp people into the proverbial floor, unless it's warranted. And by warranted, I mean like their pedophiliism, sexism, the things that make you a very perturbed, disturbed, and very compromised individual to society that should not have a platform, right? Um, I used to be very vocal on a lot of things. I used to be very vocal on viewbotting, which I'm sure we'll get into. I used to be very vocal on emote spam, which I'm sure we'll get into. I used to be very vocal on people using others for their own personal gain, which which I'm sure we'll get into. There's a lot of things I used to be vocal on, and yes, I have aired dirty laundry. I have put names to faces, and it has cost me quite a lot.
It's kind of it's kind of like one
But
of those things.
the
Go ahead.
thing is, the thing is in that moment and in that aspect, I had no regrets. Now, do I have regrets a little bit? To a point. I do not regret addressing the problem because stuff that warrants being discussed should be aired or should be discussed. I mean, I can only speak for the people that live in the U.S., but in America, you have the right to debate. You have the right to free speech. You don't have the right from consequences for said speech, but you have the right to speak your mind. And in that moment, I did speak my mind. But there are always better ways of addressing things rather than just going straight to the internet and putting it on blast. And that is a lesson that I have had to learn time and time again because I am very emotionally charged when it comes to quite a variety of conversations. And instead of just reaching out and having a conversation, I used to be very bad at just, and I would do my best not to put names, even though people wanted names, but I would go out on the internet and I'd make a tweet and I would address the behavior and I wouldn't address the person, but yet people would be able to figure out who it was I was speaking about and then go, and that's how the mill started. They'd go and they'd go tell the other person, oh, hey, so-and-so's talking about you. They didn't name you, but they're talking about you. And then you'd
It's
have this
because it's high school, like you said.
and it gets absolutely nowhere. And the only people it affects is yourself because that's your mental now tanking, and the people around you that are caught up in the firestorm. So I have done my due diligence. and it has taken me quite a long time to get to this point, but I'm at a point in my life now where, yes, I notice behaviors, but I've also understood that some behaviors just don't affect me. It doesn't stop me from doing what I'm doing on my stream. It doesn't stop me from being able to be there for people who uh, value my presence, and it doesn't stop me from being able to entertain and to spend time with others. And I'm sure we'll get into all that in its own separate quantities and topics. But
Well,
that's kind of the gist.
I just don't want people to get the wrong idea when I kind of bring this type of stuff up, because like for people who haven't been in your streams, like you aren't a drama streamer, you aren't a drama collector, and like the people who do pay attention to what you do, like they see you for being awesome, they see you for being friendly and creating an incredible family and an incredible community. Which, I mean, like you and I are on completely different political spectrums. We've had discussions about it. It is what it is. Like, but the thing is, the difference between the way you and I converse versus the way other people on a political spectrum converse is like we act like we can actually have a legitimate conversation and understand like the empathy behind it, and like actually be able to talk with each other instead of just
I
jumping to random conclusions.
I let me make this clear. I am not political.
I know you're not.
I vote. I You'll have to forgive me. My daughter is.
No, you're totally okay.
My daughter's been in a mood here the last couple of days, and I have a feeling she probably just tried to dive bomb off the bed.
Oh no.
Her mom's in, her mama's in there though. Mama will handle it. When I say I'm not political, and I don't like bringing politics up because there are people out here in this space that they have made their entire identity politics, and
Yes.
they wonder why people refuse to spend time with them, refuse to hang out with them, and it's because of how they address certain things. I've always believed you vote for the person who you think can do the things that you want them to do the right way. But above that, I believe you should be a decent human damn being. And I'm watching my French here because I know we're on a podcast, so bear with me. If
You're okay.
cannot
You
be a
are
good-
welcome to
if
be
you-
as 18 plus as you want.
if you cannot handle being a decent human being to others, I don't want you around me. And that was part. I had a situation a couple of weeks ago where I was emotionally and mentally compromised to the point where I was in a very dark place because people that I respected and people that I looked up to, and I said, okay, these people are actually, who they say they are. We're coming out here glorifying a murder on they were coming out here and glorifying somebody being murdered.
Right.
I have zero tolerance for that. I don't care who you are. I have zero tolerance for it, and there's absolutely nothing that makes that right.
I agree.
And fun fact, if you're going to put me on a political spectrum, I am an independent. I walk it down the middle, and I refuse to do politics to a point when it comes to certain things. One, because past history, we weren't allowed to talk about our commander in chief being in the service. That was grounds for an RD-15 if it got too out of hand. But even now, being retired, there are things that I agree with, and there are things that I don't agree with. But the problem is when you go to speak on something, in the emotional spectrum that is live streaming or content creation, if you speak your mind on anything that happens in the political world, be prepared to just get stripped down bare naked and ran through, because people are going to insinuate that because you don't agree with their viewpoint, you are wrong. You are a problem. You don't deserve to have a platform, regardless of how valid your viewpoint is. If you do not agree with people, somebody's going to take you to task, and that's where I go back to, you can't make anybody happy. So for when you're live streaming and you're doing stuff like this, I like, when it comes to politics, and by politics I mean what happens up on Capitol Hill, leave me out of it. I do not care. When it comes to military movements, when it comes to how people act towards others, I have my own viewpoints and opinions on it. But again, as a content creator with brand partnerships and sponsorships on the line, you have to watch how you approach these topics and how you speak on such topics, because all it takes is one angry dude with a burning passion and nothing to do to try to go out of their way to cancel you. And
Exactly.
it's, again, you can't make anybody happy, because if you don't agree with them, you're automatically wrong. So
The brands are always watching, and you can't forget that. You never know who's actually watching your stream. I know people will like give you all these streaming tools like Mix It Up or StreamerBot, or like to be able to see like the viewers that are currently in your streams, to be able to see what viewers are there. But like honestly, it's like that's not the point. It's like none of that stuff is actually accurate enough where it's going to detect somebody like right away, and to be able to populate their username and be able to populate that. And it's like you never know who's going to be watching you. So why not just be respectful and be but also be real. And that's I guess the point that I was making when I was bringing some of this stuff up. It's sure some people go ahead.
I could sum that up even better for you. It is
Sure.
not that hard to be a decent human being and to conversate like one.
Absolutely. And
It
that's
is
something that
not
I
hard.
preach constantly. That is so you have over 4 years of streaming experience. What would be the biggest lesson that you learned about content creation during that time? What is something that you want these new and aspiring creators to know?
Stop stat chasing.
I agree.
So I'm going to bring in a little bit of military history, a little bit of military insight to this, and I'm going to compare it to streaming, and hopefully people can make the connection. When I was in the military, I was an F-16 crew chief, 2 Alpha 373. For those of you who want to check my MOS, it is what we call a tactical aircraft maintenance specialist, TAMS for short, but in even shorter format, crew chief. We turned wrenches for a living. And one of the very big things was we were constantly working 14, 16-hour shifts, while other people who were higher ranked than us worked 6 to 8-hour shifts and then acted as if we had just gotten on shift and were fresh. And we started burning ourselves out, literally trying to do our job and fix aircraft and do certain things. And we ended up going to the production team. Now, in the military, there's 2 teams. You have flight chiefs, which take care of our personnel. You have production, which takes over airplanes, the job. And as the production team so eloquently put it to me when I went and I told them, hey, this shit's getting out of hand, quote, we don't give a shit about people. That's not our job. We give a shit about airplanes and FMC rates and chasing numbers. Go talk to your other people about that, unquote. Now, how does that translate to streaming? I know everybody's been looking at Twatter here lately, and yes, it is Twatter, not Twitter, not X, Twatter. Everybody's been on Twatter about the whole Twitch stink and lurkers being removed and view counts being down half and this, that, and the third. And to be perfectly honest, to me, when people come out here and make posts like that, you are stat chasing. You are chasing the numbers, you're chasing the view counts, you're chasing information and forgetting as to what you should be doing, which is entertaining and being there for the people that are there. When you focus less on who's there already and you focus more on, okay, how can I just make people laugh and entertain and because you should always be, I don't want to call this work, because work to me is you show up somewhere, you're doing a job from 9 to 5, you go home and you hate life and you go, okay, I'll go back and do it again tomorrow. I would consider this a passion. I'm not going to say blessed enough, because unfortunately I have 25 disabilities that I have to work with every day to be able just to function. But I love being able to come on camera and fire up a video game and just enjoy downtime with people who I consider friends and family for however long I want. There is a lot of people that cannot say they're able to do the same. And respect to those of you who work 9 to 5s and then come home and try to stream and upload content, because that takes a massive mental toll and a very physical toll.
Yes. Could not agree more to that statement.
But the thing is, right, is if you don't enjoy what it is you're doing, this is going to suck. This is going to drain you and you're going to burn out. And why would you want to focus? Like, I get it. This is just my personal belief. If you are trying to make content creation and streaming your job, your bread and butter, you cannot focus consistently on numbers because you will burn out faster doing that than you would be if you just enjoy playing the game with people. Your content is not only being entertaining yourself, but bringing people along for the ride and playing the games with friends and whatnot with the comms, and literally just having fun. The numbers will come in due time. If you are constantly focused on the numbers, it's going to affect your mental. You're going to start coming off more jaded. You're going to start coming off more bitter. You're going to stop having fun, and it's going to translate into stream. And people will not want to be around that because a lot of people, when they watch a streamer, they're not there to see how you're doing. They're not there to see how your mental is. They're not there to see, to hear about how much, oh, well, I got this, I lost all this people. They're not there for that. They're there to have fun and to watch good vibes and party, more or less.
I couldn't agree
Now,
more with that statement, and I want to kind of interject because there's so many things to like kind of unpack from what you just said. Like people, we have to, as streamers, as content creators that are newer creators, we have to pay attention to what the viewers want. Sometimes you have a community where you have viewers that just want to play the same game as you. Sometimes you have viewers that are having a rough time in their life and they want to be in that comfort of somebody who that they trust and that is putting forward good vibes, like as you said. And it's such an important thing to understand. It's like when you're going into content creation, absolutely it's about having fun, but it's also you have to have a certain empathy towards your viewers as well. And in regards to the numbers that you brought up in regard to the whole Twitch thing, none of that stuff with Twitch is even proven yet. We don't know if that's even what's going on with the numbers count. Sure, it's sus, but maybe there's other things at play that they haven't even figured out yet. Like being a developer is not an easy job. So I feel like people in the content industry are jumping the gun and going to Twitter, X, whatever the hell you want to call it, and they're just forgetting the basics, which I'm glad you brought up because the basics were just being yourself and having fun and doing what you do, and the right people will find you when it's time.
here's the thing about, like, people need to understand when you come out here and you put the energy of, oh, well, this doesn't seem right into the atmosphere, it makes you seem very entitled. It makes you
Yes.
seem very, very self-centered. Anybody who's been around the block by now, who's been in this game for at least a year, maybe two, understands that you're going to have your high periods of viewing and you're going to have your low periods of viewing. We are approaching the holiday season right now. We are pretty much on the road to the holiday season. We got Halloween, straight into Thanksgiving, straight into Christmas. Everybody's going to be spending money for their families, getting Christmas gifts, getting the turkeys. And let's be honest, turkeys are fucking expensive along with everything else these days.
Yes, they are.
The economy is the economy. And it's going to take up a lot of time that people don't have like they used to when it comes to being able to pull up a stream or being able to pull up being able to lurk. And you have to be grateful for the people that are able to pull up. Um, and when it comes to having what I call a safe place to be able to come in and vent, there's a lot of streamers out here that don't like drama. They don't like drama dumping. Drama dumping, trauma dumping, same thing. They don't like it. And I still believe that you should be able to be there for others, right? Because I was at a point in my life where I had no one. My flesh and blood wouldn't talk to me. I was going through a divorce. I couldn't talk to my kids because they were overseas. And then when I went to mental health, the military pretended I was no longer a person, much less breathing. And obviously that led to several things that I'm not proud of. It led to several decisions that I, tried to take, and thankfully it did not work out. But I believe in being here for people as much as possible because of that. Now, for the longest time, I was told, oh, you seem like an empath. You seem like an empath. You seem like an empath. You seem like a really large empath. And I kept telling myself, no, I'm not an empath. I don't know what you're talking about. I'm a redhead. Gingers have no souls. Why would I care? And then I hit a point a couple of weeks ago. I had a very bad thought process where, again, I felt like I was abandoned by people who I considered friends, who I considered family, that I loved, that I had a respect for. And I sat here and I was talking to people. I talked to my other half. I talked to Lone Rider. I had time to sit down. I talked to Echoes Nation, who I know you had on the podcast before,
He's a
and it
great dude.
dawned on me. Yes.
Mhm.
And it dawned on me that every time I would insert myself into somebody's life, or somebody opened their doors to their life and allowed me in and conversated with me about the things that were going on in their life, I started having an emotional attachment to that person and their situations. That is very, very dangerous, because of the fact that if something were to happen and you and that person no longer agreed on things, or you had a miscommunication or falling out, now it's affecting you mentally and emotionally because of the establishment that you've made. And that's where I wound up being, and I went back into that dark place for the first time in a while. And I had to tell myself, say, okay, I can't do trauma dumping and chat anymore. I can still be here for people. You utilize the Discord, surround yourself with people who share the same vision as you, that care about other people, that care about other people's life, care about other people's, mental health, stuff like that. Have help. It takes a village to raise a person, is what they used to say. And the thing is the village still has to be there even when you're old and grown, because there are some things you just cannot do on your own. It will overwhelm you, like it did me. So I am a very firm believer in having and surrounding yourself with people who are genuine people who share the same thoughts and views as I do when it comes to wanting to be there for other people. Now, in the same breath, there's two sides of
Mhm.
this coin. You're going to have people that claim they care about others, and the moment that you are not, the moment they see they cannot get anything out of you, they leave. There was somebody who made a post on Twitter about mods taking advantage of them and then dipping one, and unfortunately I've had that happen. And part of being outspoken, I came out here and I would talk about how certain companies and organizations would gaslight, and they would sit there and tell you that they wanted opportunities and that they would get back to you, and then you would never hear from them again. And you'd be sitting here and you'd be blowing up the phone, you'd be emailing them, doing everything, and it's just radio silence. And then you'd come out here and you go to speak, and for me, my mod team are people that I trust. They have my personal cell phone number. They're able to alert me, hey, so and so, checking on so and so, they have a problem going on. They are literally an extension of who I am. And I treat them as such. I treat them as brothers and sisters. And I've had people that I respected, that I appreciated, and that I cared for tuck tail and run because, oh no, Tori's going after a company that I have a partnership with. And instead of being honest and saying, I'm scared to lose my partnership with this company because they're going to tie me in with Tori, even though no names were mentioned, I can't afford to do that. And then they come out here on social media and they say, oh, well, it's your fault because, you took advantage of me. It's, you have to be
It's a,
careful with who you trust, because there are people who will play what I like to call the long game, and they will sit there in snakeskin and for years and make you think that they care about you, and then you find out something happens a couple years down the road, they take their leave, and then you find out everything else that happened on the back end, and you're like, holy crap!
it's
And it,
it's a
it, it
lot
makes
of
you question people.
it's a lot of the reason why and Jess and I had this conversation yesterday. The internet is a very dangerous place, and it's very difficult to trust people from a remote aspect until you actually have legitimate conversations with them where you can and see them in person at conventions, until you actually get an opportunity to trust people. But unfortunately, like, the world is not just the internet. The world is a hurtful place too, and like, having pain, or sorry, being on the receiving end of pain, it happens, and it really hurts when people betray you or hurt you. I mean, I've been on the receiving end of that. I made a comment on someone's Twitter, and they got ridiculously mad at me, and then threatened to try to cancel me. Not saying names, but like it's not even just in Twitter. Like, there was somebody who was my friend since I was a little kid, and like you mentioned, the long game. They pretended to be my friend for the longest time until they didn't really need me anymore, and then eventually the shoe dropped. And then when the shoe dropped, I eventually found out about everything that happened. So it's very difficult to have a trusting mentality, which is, I do have anxiety on that front, and I do talk to a therapist, and this is where I want to kind of steer into like the mental health aspect of things. It's I think it is very important for people to be able to find some type of sense and separation between the online world and their IRL world. And I think it's very important for people to be able to take that self wherewithal to be able to say, all right, cool, I do need to talk to a therapist because they're genuinely going to help me level my head and talk in a straight line. Like, I have severe anxiety, I have severe depression, I have severe ADHD, and there's a lot of things that are wrong with me in the mental front, but there's also a lot of things that you don't see. But mental health is so important, and trauma dumping into somebody's chat, especially when the streamer is not consenting to that, is a very difficult thing.
So I'm going to catch some flack for this.
Yeah, go for it.
I'm going to take the Tori personage off, and I'm going to speak as just me, as the airman, as Jeremy here. All right,
sure.
And I don't, I've doxed myself so many times at this point, I don't really care. There are people out here, and by here I mean in the world, regardless of streaming or whatever, that genuinely care about mental health, and then there are people who use it as a facade to get along with other people and don't really care. I have called myself a mental health advocate for a while, because of the fact that I know what I go off of personal experiences. And if I were to rattle off everything I have gone through, there'd be so many trigger warnings on this podcast, we would be here all fucking day.
Sure.
I'm not going to do that to people. Just understand that when I tell you I've been through about damn near everything that the book has, that's not a bluff. The problem I have is when people come out here and on social media, or they come out here on streams and they say they're a mental health advocate. They're a mental health advocate until something rubs them the wrong way, and then they're no longer a mental health advocate. They start blaming people for trauma dumping. I want to make this perfectly clear. If you are a mental health advocate, if you're 100% a mental health advocate, I personally believe that you should be able to understand what people are going through without being a dick. If people are coming into your chat and they are being genuine, and I don't mean coming in, with the usual trolls, oh yeah, I was taking a poop and my colon fell. We're not talking about that kind of trollish behavior, right? Mm-hmm. I'm talking about, hey, I've had a bad, because as streamers, we like to open up the floor when we see somebody new, or we see somebody that comes in, hey man, how you doing? How was your day? The moment you say that, how was your day? You open the door to whatever is coming out. You cannot tell people to not tell you how to lie to you about their day if you are going to ask them how their day was or what they did today. Because now you are the inauthentic one. You are the one that is basically asking them to lie to you and to come out. And I've seen people come in here and say, oh, well, you should know I'm streaming, I don't really want to hear that. Then don't open your mouth and ask. Use some common sense. Be like, hey, I hope you had a good day today. That's not, if they said no, it's like, okay, well, if you want to talk about it, hop in the Discord. Shoot me a message on Discord, shoot me a message offline. Don't ask people how their day was if you don't want to know. 2, If they tell you they had a bad day, there are creators out here who ask them to elaborate. Don't ask them to elaborate. I've made it a point, and I've had to adjust my rules. But back when I allowed people to trauma dump in my stream, I would ask them, okay, well, do you want to talk about it here? Do you want to talk to me offline about it? I gave you the option. And there were people that were so comfortable with who I was as a person and with how the stream was. They would not bother to go offline. They'd air it right there in the chat. And you know what? At that, when I was allowing that, it did not bother me, and it did not bother most of my moderators. Let it ride. That's what we were here for, was to be here as a support pillar.
One of the things that I want to bring up on that is, like, the moment you do feel comfortable enough to open it up to the chat and that person decides to type in the chat, that VOD's gonna always be there. And, like, keep in mind that they're putting that in the public at that point. But that's something that, as a viewer, you kind of have to understand that, like, anyone could go back to the VOD and find that specific message and the timestamp within it. So it's like, it's a lot of people kind of forget that there's a self-awareness that needs to happen before acting out in a public and online environment. And I actually wanted to shout you out because you said, that you opened up your chat for people to be able to reach out to you. There was a day way back when, where I was going through some real, like, ridiculous shit, and it was, like, really stupid, but it was affecting my mental health pretty heavily. And I was in your stream, and you even said, "Hey, how you doing, Perc?" And I'm like, "I'm not doing great, but, like, you know what? I'm surviving. I'm here." And then you did open the door, and I did message you, and you did help with your responses and the stuff that you said. So I kudos to you for even being able to do that. It's not something that everyone is capable of doing, but
because mostly everybody wants to make a public stunt out of it,
right?
And that's something else, is people assume that they are entitled to know what every person is going through, regardless if they're on camera or off camera. Because when somebody comes out here and claims to be a mental health advocate, their first instinct is, well, what have you done for somebody lately? What have you done to prove that you're a mental health advocate? And I'm going to be the asshole right now, and I'm going to tell you, it's none of your damn business what happens offline, because there's a lot of things that happen in people's lives that if they wanted you to know about it, they would tell you. If they didn't come to you and they didn't tell you, that means that they don't trust you enough, or they don't know you well enough to be able to share that information with you. Now, going into what you said about having enough common sense to understand that videos and whatnot will be left online and people can go back and research. Yes, there are plenty of weirdos that when they have a bone to pick with somebody, they're going to look for dirt, no matter where it comes from, to try to not only start drama, because that's what they feed off of, but to also make you look bad. You're never going to get away from that.
Yes.
And there's plenty of people in this space that, when you've tried all methods to talk about what's going on and you get ignored by anybody, whether it's family, fellow streamers, whatever the case may be, you're going to go somewhere where somebody's going to hear you out in the very least. And you're going to air it, because you know that's a spot that you can air your stuff out, regardless of how other people take it, because you've exhausted all other options. And that's what my stream pretty much was for the longest. It was a last ditch effort for people, or it was the first thing that people would go to because of that relationship and that trust. And if it was something very serious, then they would talk to me offline about it. I can't begin to tell you how many times, and I've stopped. I've been offline. I've been in the middle of Walmart and I had to pick up a phone call because somebody lost their son. Or I've woken up and I've almost started a manhunt because there was an issue that happened, and somebody got so far into their head that nobody could find them. They started acting irrationally. I can't sit here and begin to tell you all the situations that I've gone through where I've been there for people, but you would never have known about it because it wasn't aired. But that's the thing.
Go ahead.
Go ahead. No. Go ahead.
I was saying, like, if that's the whole thing, it's like, because there is a separation of offline versus online, and certain people will talk to people about certain things because That's just the type of friendship or relationship that people gain over time through trust, through communication, and friendship, mental health, streaming. They're all different journeys, and those are the journeys that only you have control over. And I really think that people forget like the bare basics, or like they kind of jump to some of the advanced things, but they forget that like you have to be introspective and try to think of, is this conversation going to help me in any way, shape, or form? Is this conversation going to make me feel better? And how is it also going to affect my friend? Is it going to hurt them in the process? It's like we forget to think before we speak. And I think there's a huge issue with that in the streaming space, because we are professional yappers and we'll yap our ass off no matter what. So,
but here's the caveat. Here's the devil's advocate to that.
sure.
Is yes. So some people, we really should think about what we say before we come out here and hear it, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I also believe that if you're going to say that you're there for people, you should actually be there for people.
I agree.
And I'm not gonna come out here and raise the Spanish Inquisition to find out if you actually are who you say you are. But I've had quite a few people in my tenure claim to say that they were there for people, and then come to find out they really weren't. They were just using and abusing. And
Right.
I hate false prophets like that. I hate people. Hate's a strong word. Let me change that. I detest people who claim they care about others, but then in reality, they're not there for anybody.
And, I mean, it's another thing on that note is people forget that people are busy, and sometimes like the empathy of wanting to be there for people is there, but they forget that that person also might have too much going on in their life at that point in time, that they're not capable of being there for them at that point in time. There's outside factors too, and like I said, I mean, like we're not trying to figure out. Yeah,
everybody's got a life. Everybody's got a life to live. Everybody's busy. Now, I mentioned I had a bit of a dark place a couple of weeks ago.
Mm-hmm.
I understand if you're busy, and I understand if you've got a lot going on, right? But unfortunately, we live in a day and an age where it's not hard to find out and to see if you're actually busy. Because when you're busy, to me, right, if you're a friend, if you claim to be a friend, if you claim to be a supporter or whatever, let's dial that. Friend. If you give somebody the friend tag, that means that you talk to them somewhat on the regular, if not every so often. They try to make time. They try to swing by when they can, right? And they don't treat you as if you're a ghost.
Right.
There was a situation a couple of weeks ago, and it had been building up over time, where people who I thought were busy were everywhere else. And the sad part about being a streamer is when you're offline and you're bored, you go and you watch other people stream, and you go and you watch you go hop on other people's channels, and you don't necessarily type. You don't have to type, but you can see all the chatter, and you can see who's there, who's having fun, and you can see what's going on. And you can start putting two and two together when you start noticing that the behavior is more and more like they're there for other people and they're avoiding you like the plague. But then all of a sudden, when you get emotional about it and you go, well, what the fuck did I do wrong? It becomes oh, well, you're the problem. You're entitled.
Entitlement is a big thing.
To be there for you. And I'm like, I'm not entitled. It's not entitlement to say, okay, you called me friend, but you say you're busy, but you're here for everybody else. You make time for all these other people, but you haven't been around me in a month. And I have to tell people, be careful with the friend tag, because some people are not your friend; they're your associate. They're they're somebody that is similar to you in the realm of whatever job or career you have. And they may call you friend, But an actual friend will check in every now and then. An actual friend will understand when you come out here and you post something on Twitter, or you post something on Discord and you say, hey, I'm going to be offline for a little while. Like, I could count when I was in my, I'll go ahead and throw a trigger warning out here. When I got suicidal a couple of weeks ago because everything came to a head and I had felt like I was abandoned by people that I trusted, treated like I did not exist by people that I loved and respected. When I got suicidal, I had maybe 7 to 8 people check in on me. Lunar Phase Gaming, Avenged Wolfie, Enigma's Edge, Grunts, Draconian Essence and his wife, and Echoes. That's 7 people.
I did not even.
And I'm
see
sure
that
that,
post if it was a public post.
and well, the other thing is I had deactivated my Twitter. I had deactivated my Twitter during that time.
Mhm.
That's how bad it was. And I normally don't deactivate crap because there's no reason to. I had deactivated my Twitter. I went radio dark on 0 dark 30. Didn't talk to anybody for a couple of days while I got my head together. And those people were the ones that reached out to me because and Acrolates reached out to me too. Those were the people that reached out to me because of the fact that everything had came to a boiling point. And that's when I had to sit there and I had to tell myself, it's like, not everybody is actually a friend. Not everybody actually is concerned about your well-being. Not everybody is going to sit here and be who you thought they were going to be. And that's when I told myself, okay, self, we have to change it up. We need to be here for the people who make it a point that they want us involved in their life instead of just trying to be there for everybody that, we feel appreciates us, because that's not reciprocated. Communication is more than a one-way street. And
I agree.
You have to put your mental and emotional health above others when you get to that point. And like I mentioned at the beginning of the podcast, I was putting very emotional attachments on situations and people. And that's where I became very compromised in that situation, which is why now, instead of letting people trauma dump and stream free willy-nilly, if it's a problem or you need somebody to talk to, you come to the Discord. And I keep track of everything through the Discord, so I'm very much informed. But I'm able to have help in that aspect rather than trying to just do it on my own.
And I respect that decision for being able to do that, though, and being able to come to that understanding. And, like, well, me personally, I apologize for not reaching out or not even seeing that, because for whatever reason, I haven't seen you on my FYP in a while. I don't know why that is or was.
Well, I also went ahead and I originally was following around 2,900 people.
Mm-hmm.
I had more that I was following than I had followers, and a lot of them were part of a group that I no longer associate with. And I took a step back and I said, okay. And I sat there and I realized, I was like, all these people that claim to be friends, because for the longest time, also at conventions, like I would have people come up, hey man, we agree with everything you're saying on Twitter. We respect your opinion and whatnot. But then that would be the only interaction you would have with them. There'd be no offline interaction. There'd be no coming in a stream interaction. There'd be no Twitter interaction. That would be the only thing that you hear. And you go, okay, well, I can't keep doing this. I can't keep just sitting here and putting my thoughts into the air and having people be a weather vane and just blow in whatever direction suits them. Like, you can't do that.
That's valid.
So I went and I did a mass purge of my following, and anybody that had not spoken to me, anybody that had not bothered to reach out, anybody that had made it clear that they didn't really care, no disrespect, no hate against them. But I said, you know what? I don't have the time for it. I want the people who are following that I follow to be people that I know are genuine, that give a shit if I'm breathing, and that make time. That make it clear that they want me to be a part of their life. There's another old saying, you don't stay where you're not welcome.
True.
And if the energy in the room makes it seem as if you are more of a burden and a hindrance rather than a lovable presence, why would you want to stick around? Why would you want to be in that same area? And I can't do that. I'm a father to an 8-month 8-month daughter. I'm raising my 2 sons, and while I love my other half, and she's been a fucking blessing, I still have to deal with all that on top of this.
And you
And
gotta
that's just too much. That's just too much energy to try to fucking put into people who don't reciprocate the energy back.
and I respect that a lot because you gotta protect your own self and like you're taking those steps to be able to do that. And like seriously, like I know like you and I do talk on occasion. I know it's been a while. But I respect the stuff that you come up with and the stuff that you put forward. And like I have noticed though that on my personal FYPs, on my personal algorithms, whether it be Twitter, TikTok, like the socials that I check when I like have 30 minutes when I get home from work, I'm not starting to see the people that I follow to begin with. I have to go to my following page to see that. So I'm just trying to make a conceited effort to do that and stop being on the FYP where it's showing me Browns and Guardians and Cleveland sports stuff so I can actually check up on my friends. And like for whatever reason it's showing me more sports stuff and not the people that I follow. So
Honestly, I don't blame anybody that have tailored their algorithm to anything that is not streamer related. I do not blame you. I think that's probably the smartest decision you could make because my FYP has been something. It's either politics, Black Ops 7 complaints, Twitch view count complaints, uh, kickbotting complaints, or conduct complaints about how people are acting prior to, acting. We'll just put acting in general because there's a lot that falls under that umbrella. And I'll be honest with you, like if you got your feed tailored to where you don't see any of that, all power to you. I do not blame you.
that's kind of
Um,
where my feed is. It's all Cleveland stuff. It's all
my
Guardian
m-
stuff.
I thought when I purged my crap that I'd be able to get rid of all that stuff. Nope. It's still showing up because people are reposting and whatnot. And I wish people had the energy to be able to work on themselves and their own content the same way they had energy to just repost all the ass hattery that is out here on the internet. Because
Right.
good lord, if some of y'all had been partnered and then some with the amount of energy you have to give to things that are just trivial in life. Like today, I went out to because I had an allergy flare up earlier today.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I went out to Dollar General and found out that 3 kids lost their lives because some dude took a car, fucking stole a car, and decided to put bullets in them and then run off and wreck the car. No reason as to why. Just and the kids were my son's age. And you have to sit here in hindsight, right? And you have to, with everything going on, with everybody jumping up and down and celebrating people, people, people being assassinated, and you have to go, what happened to us? There's so much more to life than arguing about semantics. Like, what happened to just being a decent human being,
That's the
and just
question I ask every
enjoying
day.
and just enjoying the fact that we're able to do the things that make us happy and celebrating other people's wins. Right. And like I said, I used to be very vocal when it came to view botting and to emote spam and whatnot. Do I condone view botting? Absolutely not. I think it is the trashiest thing you could do. And I don't have any respect for people that do it. However, does it affect what I'm doing on my channel? No, because I'm not view botting. I don't care for it. Like, so therefore it doesn't affect me. And I want people to think that they're smart enough to be able to tell who's doing it and who's not without me having to come out here every day and beat the proverbial dead horse with a stick like some people like to do and go, this person's view botting, this person's view botting. Like at some point your common sense has to kick in because whatever deity you believe in gave you brain cells to be able to think and to be, and to be able to uh, troubleshoot situations and go, hey, this doesn't look right. Maybe I should stay away from this and just keep doing what I'm doing. Like, I want to believe that people have that kind of ability to do such things, which is why I stopped talking about it as proactively as I was, because it doesn't do anything. Like I'm not view botting, therefore that doesn't affect me, doesn't affect my algorithm, it doesn't affect what I'm doing here on stream. Is me view botting going to magically get me partner? No, it's not. I've pissed off too many people. I've pissed off too many people for that.
That's my mentality on view botting as well. I don't do it. It doesn't affect me. If they do it, that's on them. That's their own conscious decision.
And it's like with the emote spam and whatnot. Like there's so much more to life than me trying to give a crap about things that like I used to be very vocal about. And like once I hit that dark place a couple of weeks ago, and then just dealing with life in general, like the things just keep telling you, hey man, you could walk out your door and never come back. Stop worrying about things that won't affect you. And it's just like, okay, you know what? You're right. Let me not worry about these things. Let me focus on having fun and doing what I'm doing over here, and just enjoying my life.
That's a huge thing. Is like, it is crazy as the streaming world is when it comes to like all these different things that are going on. There's so many bigger things realistically that we need to start understanding and care about. Like I've said it once before and I'll say it again. I feel like a lot of just people, not just streamers, are just forgetting the basics. They're forgetting the basics of humanity. They're forgetting the basics of like being just a decent human being. And you said it before, like what happened to being a decent human being?
I don't think it's a matter that they're forgetting. I think it's a matter that they know, but they don't care because they're out here trying to rage bait, trying to generate views and clicks and whatnot. Because again, majority of these streamers out here don't want to tell you that they're stat chasing. They're out here chasing numbers. So any publicity is good publicity to them because it gets eyeballs on what they're doing. And they think that no harm and no foul business can come to them, because to them it's just a game. It's just views, right. It's just clicks, it's just, nobody's gonna do anything seriously. And I hate to tell you all this, but we have already exited the fuck around phase, and we are now in the find out phase. And yes, people are gonna keep fucking around, and then they're gonna get the surprise Pikachu face when they find out, because there's gonna be people who do not think like you or I, and that want to take matters into their own hands. And I do not want to be on the receiving end of a phone call to find out that somebody I considered a friend in the streaming space lost their life because they decided to go run their mouth on a social media platform, and they found out the hard way because somebody had the time to go look up their IP and figure out where they live. And there are people out here who do that. There are people out here who have the time to look up their IP and to look up every single bit of personal information that you have, and they will come find you, and they will take matters in their own hands. And I do not wish that on anyone.
The doxing is real, and that's why yesterday I said everyone needs to take a course in cybersecurity if you're deciding to go into content, for a couple different reasons. Doxing happens a lot more than we want it to. And this is a huge problem in the streaming world. I know this might not be the full route of what you're trying to go here, but this is just kind of the mentality that I have when you're talking about people finding someone's IP and finding out information and being able to screen grab or capture the stuff that they're currently doing on their devices. It's like, I really think, and I genuinely think, that every single streamer should be taking a bare minimum basic course in cybersecurity so that you can learn how to protect yourself and try to prevent people from doing things. Me personally, I have a honeypot. It's going to assail somebody that I live in Tremont, in Cleveland, Ohio. I don't. But you can think that. I don't. I live somewhere in the Cleveland area, but it is not where that IP says that I am. And a honeypot being a cybersecurity term where I have a server that runs certain things, it's going to pull people in. I've had people try and pull my IP. They're like, oh, well, I see all these computers on your network. I see Perc's PC. I see laptop JV MORDG. And I'm like, yeah, those are honeypot computers that I put into a place where you're going to be able to try to find and get information, because you're not going to be able to get the actual information.
Well,
But
the other thing is it's not just IP addresses. You have to be careful who you trust, because there are
yes,
people that if you burn them, they will go to creators that are very frequent, because I know, because I for years I had a fucking war against another creator, and there was somebody, and without getting deep diving into this rabbit's hole, there are people that now hate me that I have blocked on Twitter, who make it their personal life mission just to see what I'm doing, that have things leaked to them from other people who got burned by the other creator, and their whole mission is to just make that other person's life miserable. And the moment you insert yourself into something, and the moment you speak out on something, you become a target. You have to be careful who you trust, and you have to be careful what you say.
yes.
Which is another reason why, like, I took a giant step back, because, like, to me, that's just weird fucking energy. I do not want to fuck around with somebody whose entire fucking mantra is, I'm going to make this motherfucker pay. I don't have the energy for that, especially if it's not my fucking beef.
I honestly, I couldn't agree more with you, because like there's so many times where people, the worst thing that Twitter has ever done is allow people to be able to view your posts after you block them. I think it is the dumbest thing in the world. And it's enabling people with bad mental health. That's my personal opinion. You can agree or disagree with that. But it starts a lot more drama than it needs to. It's kind of sickening to me.
Well, the other thing is, like I said, the stream space is high school. You're gonna have people who you have a falling out with, running around and trying to start crap just because they want to get some get back. They want to get their lick back, regardless if they were right or wrong. So the moment you make a post, if the shoe fits mentality kicks in, they're going to assume you're talking bad about somebody, and then they're going to go run to that other streamer and go, "Oh, hey, so and so's talking trash about you. This is what they posted. Zero evidence, zero proof. That's what they're going to go do." And then that streamer's, instead of using, the phenomenal brain power that they have, they're going to go, "Oh yeah, you must be right," because they also want to get a kickback. And then they come out here and they make their own little post or whatever, and then you have this tit for tat that doesn't happen. We had a situation, and I will put this on blast because I can. She's no longer in the stream space. I had a conversation with Bozzy B. And for the longest, after that conversation, I thought we were good. And then I come to find out from other creators who knew her that she had been running around behind closed doors and telling people that to not associate with me at all, and then yelling at people for participating in the charity events that I was doing because of who I was, just because she did not like who I was. And this is the same person that at DreamHack shook my hand, gave me a smile, laughed with me, said they wanted some beers, drunk called me on Snapchat, and pretended to act like a decent human being. Like, those are the people you have to be careful of, because you genuinely do not know anything. People are so good at putting on a facade when they want to, that until the truth comes out, or until they slip up and make a mistake, which I don't need to rehash what happened with her. She slipped up and made a mistake. They will take full advantage of people and people's communities, and spin lies and narratives and affect people until the truth comes out. And then the sad part about it is, once the truth comes out, those same people won't apologize for being misled and being like, "Oh, well, you know what? I'm sorry for believing this," because they never came and asked you directly. They always believed the grapevine. And again, streaming, high school, it's a thing. You have to protect yourself, and you have to protect the information that gets out, because once you find out, all you can do is just sit back and go, "Well, told you so. Moving on."
There's honestly, like, the streaming really is a high school thing, and like I dislike the fact that like people don't take accountability for their own actions. But I mean, once again, it's like, hopefully someday they realize, they look back on it and they mature, and they eventually do. But I mean, the past. It's something that they'll have to take care of.
I like to tell people that I am not human, that I am not perfect. Not human might be a stretch. Okay,
you're an alien, apparently.
I'm a ginger. We don't classify as anything these days. I am not perfect. I have made a lot of mistakes in my life. I've made a lot of mistakes in my fucking career, right? And I can only apologize so much before people go out of their way. Like, for example, and I'm going to give you all a lot of examples, and these are going to be apologies. You take them how you want to. All right. For example, I put my nose in a position because it was aired out on Twitter where a couple was going through a very nasty time. And I went after Sasha Ray. My apologies to Sasha because I had no business having my nose in that fucking business. Just because it was on Twitter doesn't mean that it's your place to fucking say shit. And I've apologized to that. I apologize here. I've apologized in person to my knowledge, but that was a situation that I had no business being in. Um, I've apologized to other people as far as how it comes across when I speak on like view botting and emote spam and shit like that. I There's a lot of things that I will take responsibility for. Those of you who are aware of my history when I first came to Kick, me and Lauren were together, and not together like we. To quote a term from Will Smith, we were an entanglement. Um, but I went after her after all the shit that went down instead of just being mature about the situation. And I being very passionate, being very emotional, I came out here like a fucking idiot and said a lot of things, and other people decided to poke their nose into that business and try to start shit when it wasn't needed. And hindsight is 2020. I apologize to her. We don't talk anymore, which I don't blame. I do not blame. But but the thing is that beef, that little tit for tat, has evolved into quite a few things down the road. And you can only apologize and you can only take responsibility for the things that you can control, right? I am far from perfect. Anybody that thinks they're perfect, I assure you, you're not, and you might want to go get checked. Um,
We're all
Now
human.
there's some things that I will not apologize for, and I'm not going to air that out. But there's again growing pains. It's painful because you're growing and you're learning and you're trying to mature and you're trying to be better than the day you were before. And yes, I'm 35 years old. Yes, it's taken quite a long fucking time. But to be able to sit here and say, yes, I apologize because I should not have done these things, and to be able to understand how to be a better person moving forward, yeah, I'll take that. I have no problem admitting that. And for me, it goes a little bit slower. As most of my regulars know, I was diagnosed with traumatic brain injuries from my time in the service, which is partially why I'm medically retired. So the way I think, the way I feel, the way I understand things, what might seem a joke to some people is serious to me. What might seem like a joke to me is serious to some people. It's very hard to read body language sometimes, or it can be very misleading, and I have to sit there and I have to ask questions again and again just to confirm, but because I may or may not understand what's being asked or what you're trying to explain to me. And it's not an excuse. Let me make that clear. It's not an excuse, but it is something that I have to get over, and it's something I have to kind of work through and be able to continue doing what it is I'm doing. And I'm trying to make strides with that. I'm trying to do what I can with that. But it's a matter of just coming to an understanding that there's more to life than just coming out here and rage baiting and thinking that you have to insert your opinion into every single fucking thing when you don't. You really don't.
I absolutely agree with you. There is more to life than like rage baiting, and there are certain styles of content that as a viewer I would want to consume. But I kind of want to switch gears slightly just a little bit, because what you just said kind of goes to show that like you never really know about the masks that people have to put on, or the mental health that people have behind the scenes that like people aren't really aware of. We talked about some of the drama space that is the Twitter world, that is the streamer world. We've talked a lot about mental health, and we've talked about a whole bunch of different styles of things when it comes to content and what to pay attention to and what to learn. Now, what I want to kind of switch gears to is on a completely different end of the spectrum. Is I want to talk about the good analytics, that the good numbers that us content creators should start paying attention to if we want to grow. So do you have any thoughts on what numbers we should be paying attention to, whether it comes to content or whether it comes to streaming?
So I am not on the level of BB Jess or Sasha or Echoes or anything like that. I do not field those numbers. So I'm going to address this from and I don't want to put an emphasis on the size of a creator. I know a lot of us like to try to call ourselves small creators or medium-sized creators. And to me, when you do that, you put yourself in a box. You put yourself behind the 8 ball because you're setting yourself up for, okay, this is what I can handle. You should be able to want to aspire to do more than that, not put yourself in that position. So for me, I'm going to speak as somebody who is on the road to fielding those numbers, right? For me, the things I look for are as follows. 1, how many people are returning to your stream? There is no add-on for that. You have to pay attention to your chat. You have to pay attention. You have to get to know and the names that are coming through. Like, for example, Cossack, Star, Lunarface, Acrolates, Nerdy Inc., who just came back. He's been in my chat constantly. Wolfie, he's been in my chat constantly. And to help me out with that, I have a very simple thing. If you come into my chat, if you're a part of my chat, and you continue to be a part of communicating with the Valhalla family, which is my chat, my online community, and you are here you are here constantly, not every day, but constantly, you get VIP until I run out of VIP badges, and then I start plugging and playing. That tells me that you are here and you're being a part of, and you are being a part of the chat, and you are enjoying your time. That's a very quick way for me to be able to tell who's who. Mods have that extra level of trust. Like I said, they have my personal cell. They are an extension of being able to be there for people when we know that something's going on within the community, within the family. They reach out, they find out what's going on. They reach out to me, hey, keep an eye on this person. Then I can reach out to them and go, okay, sure, not a problem, what's going on. That's where that level of trust comes from. But being able to tell who your regulars are, that's when you know when you start having more regulars than normal, that's how you're growing. Do I leave my viewer count on? Yeah, I leave all the stats on. And the reason why I leave all the stats on is because the fact that for me, it is a curiosity factor. It's a double-edged sword. Depending on what you're doing, depends on, like, if you're playing World of Warcraft and you're averaging 20 to 30 viewers, you go to play Warzone, you're averaging 10. Okay, you know that the majority of your community enjoys World of Warcraft. Not a problem. Okay, if you're going to stat chase, look for the content that people are enjoying, and give me 1 second because I'm about to hit this dude with a ban hammer real quick because it's a bot. Bam! There we go. All right, perfect.
W ban?
Oh, sorry.
No, you're good.
Another jackwagon talk about the Kick Fam Discord.
That's been happening a lot.
Yeah. But the thing is pay attention to the content you're doing. Watch the numbers. Pay attention to how many regulars you got coming in. And hopefully you're putting stuff on social media as far as Twitter, as far as YouTube Shorts, Instagram Reels, TikTok. I told y'all I just made a TikTok a couple of days ago. God help us all.
Right.
And I've been uploading some of my old YouTube shorts to TikTok. And it's funny because there are people who don't come around the stream, don't engage with me on YouTube or anything like that, but they're on TikTok and they'll sit there and they'll watch your videos and whatnot. And that's the thing, is you should be able to pull from social media. You should be able to pull from other sources to bring them into your main hub. Like I mentioned, and I had this conversation with Shazam because Shazam's like, well, I don't feel like I have enough traction on Kick. Maybe I should go to Twitch because there's more discoverability. And I hate to tell you this, there's no such thing as discoverability.
Bingo.
There is absolutely no such thing as discoverability. And for the longest time, people have been hammering and clamoring about, oh, well, they should put more small streamers on front page. They should be able to help smaller creators. And I'm going to tell you this, and this is not going to come off the way that you think is going to come off, but no one owes you anything when it comes to your streaming career. No one owes you to be put on front page because you're 5 viewers and you need help. No one owes you to upload your stuff for you. Like, those are usually paid services that creators who have made it in the world of content creation / streaming have agencies for. They pay people to do that for them. That way they can focus on entertainment. So for us to come out here and assume that we're owed that and that the platform should do that for us freely, that is that level of entitlement that makes people go, I want nothing to do with you. So you have to take it upon yourself. And I've been pretty bad about it this week, the past week or so, of uploading clips and whatnot to YouTube for current content, because my content is shifting just a little bit. We're going to be more FPS heavy, but we're also going to be doing hardcore World of Warcraft, so MMORPGs. And when we get the new rig, we're going to be doing still MMORPGs on a higher graphic scale, so that way it's actually enjoyable. But there's some things that I can't do right now because of my Frankenstein rigs. So
For sure.
pay attention to your. I got a little off track there, but when we're looking
You're
at numbers
okay.
and whatnot, just look at the content that you're doing and how the numbers view. And if you notice something weird, like you notice, I'm bringing up an old story. We were doing World of Warcraft hardcore. It was about 2 a.m. I went from 15 to 20 people to 240, and I go, okay, that's not normal. So I go to look, and now I'm on front page. Like, I take a screenshot and I put my things in for the front page, and then we jump to fucking 1,500. Then from 1,500 to 2,400. Then from 2,400 to 70,000. And the next thing I know, we're at 4.1 million views for World of Warcraft Hardcore. Now, anybody with 2 working brain cells, much less 1, and that does not hail from Alabama, is very much aware there is no way you're going to get 4.1 million views on World of Warcraft Hardcore. It's just not going to happen. Like, there's, like, death and taxes are inevitable. That's also inevitable. All right. It's just not written there for everybody to see. Come to find out, the front page got hit with a giant view bot. A lot of things that a lot of people don't want to admit to you is when they get view botted, they don't report it. They just let it ride. And then they wonder why they don't get accepted. I had to fight for my check mark, my verification, because since that giant view bot happened on the front page, my metrics would not reset back to where they needed to be. So for an entire month or so, it kept showing me as, yeah, you've completed all the metrics. And I go, well, if we're not going to reset it, kind of, like, you have to be honest, well, not just yourself, but with the platform and everybody else. Because again, if you're in my shoes and you're very outspoken and you're not reporting this stuff, they're going to use that against you.
Right.
Oh, well, you're clearly not reporting this stuff. We don't like you anyway. Therefore, we don't have, because again, people fail to read the fine print that is in your achievements page, specifically for Kick, and it's there for Twitch as well. That says applying does not guarantee you verification. It just gives you the option to apply. The ultimate choice is still on the platform, and there's a lot of creators out here who run to twatter the moment they get denied, and they go, "Oh, well, I got denied. I don't know why. I have all the metrics." Again, it's not guaranteed.
So
you have to be true to yourself on that.
There's a bunch of things to unpack here, and like starting with the honesty portion. Being honest as a creator is so important, and like it's like a bare bones thing. Like, you have to be honest with yourself and understand it. Like, let's say I do jump to 4.1 million, but I also have my viewer count off, so I'm not gonna ever know about it. That's a personal thing. That's just what I do. I'm never gonna know about it. I don't know how many people are ever in anywhere. I could go look, but I don't really ever look. But being honest as a creator based off of your views is extremely important. Also, putting yourself in a box is not the correct move. You mentioned that like small streamers would consistently complain to be put on the front page. Well, I have news for the small creators. you can't handle an influx of heavy viewers. And I'm going to tell you a story as to why. I'm a small creator. I'm playing Call of Duty, and I'm in one of BB Jess's like charity streams, and then BB Jess raids into me. I'm not ready for that 800 viewer raid at all. Not only did my alert didn't break, my chat broke. I'm not able to even keep up with the speed of the chat. And shout out to Jess for being amazing and even considering me, because in my opinion, rating somebody or hosting somebody is one of the biggest honors as a content creator, because it means that the creator that hosted you trusts you with their community and to continue the viewership with their community. So that's something that I definitely 110% want to say. But small streamers can't handle a heavy influx of viewers. When I had that situation happen, I was flipping out. I didn't know what to do. I kept dying in Call of Duty, and then my gameplay suffered, and then I tried to make it fun, and I tried to be super exciting, but I just couldn't handle it. But I'm honest with myself, and I understand the fact that I couldn't handle that influx of people. In order to be considered to something like Kick Partner, Twitch Partner, or the front page of any type of streaming platform, you got to ask yourself as a content creator, why do you deserve it? Why you? You have the ability whenever you go live and you hit the front page of, you are making a statement as a viewer, as a creator, as a streamer, of why you should even consider following me, of why you should even consider giving me that opportunity to get onto the front page. Why are you have to give them that reason? Whether it's being a great creator, whether it's being educational, whether it's being empathetic, whether it's being entertaining, you have to give them that reason. So my analytics, in my opinion, of what I pay attention to is everything that happens after stream. And what I mean by that is you look at your analytics and you see when people leave your stream. You look at your YouTube videos and you see at what minute, what check mark, what point did people exit the chat. Because our job is to be entertaining, is to create a show, is to have fun, and to be ourselves and showcase ourselves as creators to everyone who's stopping by chat. And that's my opinion on that. And that's why I think the most important metrics to pay attention to are when people leave your stream and what was said during the VOD at that point in time as to why people left your stream.
So here's the thing. If you're looking to grow, right, and you're not really, you're looking to grow viewers and not community, because there's a difference. And that's
Yes.
something a lot of people don't understand. Viewers, they come and they go.
True.
If you're not going to be able to retain the same, if you're able to retain the same viewer, you're doing something right. But some people are there simply for the game that you're playing or for the content that you're doing at that point in time. For example, if I'm out here putting people on blast for drama content, I'm going to have 60 plus views because everybody wants the fucking tea. Everybody wants to know the latest because everybody's nosy. If I am doing World of Warcraft, I'm not going to have 60 views. I'm going to have 15, maybe 20, depending on what I'm doing. Because those same nosy people do not care about whether or not I live or die in a 20-year-old version of a game that they have no interest in. So for me, I've always set it up to where I care more about building my online family, because when you take care of your people, everything else will grow in time. People are going to start talking, your community, your online family is going to start broadcasting, hey, my favorite creator's going live at this time, y'all should check them out. And when people are starting to gravitate to those guys and those feeds are starting to pop up, this is going to sound crude, but it's free marketing. Because now your online family, who has respect for you and you've built that relationship, is legitimately trying to broadcast for you what you are doing at any point in time because they want to see you succeed. If we're out here just chasing view counts and you're just out here chasing fucking people who are going to be temporary, you're never going to get a consistent number, because if you're a variety content creator, it's going to change based on what you're doing. Like me, I can go from playing World of Warcraft for 2 hours into a just chatting segment if something tilted me and I want to talk about it, and into workouts later that night. And I'll go from 20 to 60 to 10 because some people are just invested in whatever kind of content they are.
Yes.
So for me, it is about establishing that connection with the people who are in the chat and having fun and engaging with them. If I suck at Call of Duty, which, fun fact, I do, I cannot push. Like I made a tweet about this for the Black Ops 7 beta. I can't, because of my internet and the way my computers are rigged, I cannot consistently push front line because I'm gonna get cheesed on every time. So I hang back in the back with a sniper. I go for sniper shots, and I still have fun. But I'm also paying attention to the chat that's going on and engaging with them and having conversations with them, because sometimes your chat will end up being better content than what's going on in the gameplay.
True.
And 100%. Sometimes you will get those degenerates, those heathens, or those wild comms that you just pin that thing up there and you go, "Yep, it's going to be a good night tonight." And that, but again, everybody works differently. What might work for me will not work for thee. What works for thee might not work for me. What your goals are, what my goals are, will different. Here's what I honestly believe. I believe if you are a content creator / streamer, if you are a live streamer, because offline content can be a little different. If you are a streamer, every time you hit that go live button, you are pushing to be the very best that you can be and to try to get to the highest point, which is partner for whatever platform that you are trying to be on. If you are not doing that, cool. Then what are you going? What are you trying to do? Are like that's the insinuation, is you want to be partner. You want to hit that top level. Now, how you get there depends on you. You could stat chase, you could build your community up, or you could try to do both. Just make sure you have the energy for whatever it is you're trying to apply. And don't try to swap it up midway, because the moment you swap it up, you're going to affect what you were originally doing.
So what is your goal?
My goal, I want to build a damn community. I want to build, because again, like I said, when you take care of your people, everything else will fall in line. And here's my proof, because I love bringing receipts, right? My truck last year, engine shelled out. Completely
I
gone.
remember that.
Actually, not last year, this year. It was this year. Earlier this year, my truck shelled out. I am not partner on Kick. I am not partner on Twitch. My community stepped in to help me out with the down payment for the new vehicle. When I first moved over to Kick and I was trying to live stream, I had not seen my sons in 4 years. I promised them a Disney trip that I had not been able to take them to. My community, my online family stepped in and paid for my sons to go to Disney for the week. When I couldn't, let me get another situation here.
I've got one for you guys. Because when 2 years ago, I was going through one of the worst financial struggles I've ever had. I had a bill due, and I had something double taken out of my account. I was down negative $700. I didn't know what to do. My family couldn't assist because they were also in financial struggles. So I made a tweet about it, and I said, I'm going to be straight up, and I don't ever talk like this, and I don't ever ask for this, but this is where I'm at, and I genuinely don't know what to do. And because of my bank's overdraft fees, if this continues over the next 2 weeks, I'm going to be down over double that amount, because that's just how the overdraft fees work. And after I made that post, it was a community of people that I didn't even know I had. Sometimes you, as a streamer, as a content creator, have a community of people that support you and you don't even know it. And what I mean by that is they may not directly support you with your like through viewer counts or like liking your videos, but if you genuinely like if you reach out and you do that. I had somebody donate $1,000 to me at that point in time. And it was one of the most incredible things. And I have that clipped. I never really talk about it. I never really post about it, but like him and his community, like I appreciate the hell out of you. It wasn't only him donating $1,000. It was somebody just said, you know what, I'm going to send you food. I had Jazzy end up literally sending me $150 worth of food because she had the ability to do so. I had people sending me hundreds of dollars on top of that I had the ability to literally survive during that month of February in 23 or 24. It was one of the most, actually it was 23, but it was one of the most incredible things that I didn't even know that many people like would support me just because I make Call of Duty content and my average CCV is 5 viewers. But apparently, because of who I am, and this is what it was told to me by some of the people that decided to help, because of who I am and because of the connections that I made and because they do see me, even though they don't directly support me, when the time hit and they needed to actually help, they genuinely wanted to help, and I'm never going to forget that. So.
And that's the thing, right? And I'm able to see, I have the luxury of being able to put life lessons that I've learned along the way into my streaming career, right? Because I've been through a lot. 35 years is a lot of life to live. And the military, having been 13 of those years, you learned a thing or two. And one of the things that we used to preach in the military is if you take care of your people, everything else will come and play, right? And production did not care about that mantra because they didn't believe in it until one master sergeant took a leap of faith and said, all right, listen, I need these jets greened up, FMC. You get it done. We're out of here tonight. Them jokers were greened up and done in 6 hours flat. It was the fastest turnaround rate that they had seen because they said, hey, we'll take care of you if you do this for us. And just like that, by the book, let me make that clear, by the book, it was taken care of. And they're like, you know what? Maybe if we took care of our airmen just a little bit better, maybe this wouldn't be as painful of a process. Now, you take that same philosophy, you apply it to streaming. When you show that you give an actual crap about people and what's going on in their lives, and you maintain that energy because it's not a facade, the community that you build and the family that you gain will be there for you. And I have always maintained that posture. I will always maintain that posture. And again, we're gonna get to partner whenever we fucking get there. As I say in Hawaii, we on Hawaiian time. We get there when we get there. There's no rush because at the end of the day, that's the ultimate goal is to get to that point. But the only way you're going to get to that point, and again, this is why CCV is a thing. It's an average of the amount of people you retain. How do you retain people? By building up your community. And the thing is people expect overnight success. I'm gonna tell you something. 4 years is not overnight success.
I've been at it for 5 years. It's
like
very difficult.
it's like there are people who it did not hit those numbers until 15 years.
Honestly, like when you look at percentages of everybody, getting from 0 to 8 takes a long time. Getting from it in, there are some people who will blow up. For whatever reason, they'll blow up because they hold themselves to like a specific level. They make entertaining content and then they blow up and like things align, the stars align and it works. But that is so rare to happen. That is so rare in that type of situation. And like genuinely.
So how do you let me flip the script. I'm going to ask the question to the guy who's hosting the podcast. So in your mind, how would you promote yourself?
So
if your socials aren't working, if your socials are not hitting like you want them to, if your YouTube shorts aren't breaking the grand and they're like 100, 200, 300, whatever, if your TikTok's not popping off, if you're slow grinding, what would you do to promote yourself?
So, how do I promote myself is very interesting. So I'm going to go, this is going to be a slightly longer response. When I first started streaming, I was a Call of Duty streamer. I was in an oversaturated field. My content never blew up in COD. My friends in the Call of Duty space, who I've made friends with over time, who I've been viewers in their communities for a long time, they're telling me, they're like, yo, dude, genuinely, you're killing it. Your content is awesome. I really like it. And I'm like, well, I'm not blowing up anywhere, so like, why should I keep going? And they're like, just keep going, just keep doing it, just keep doing what you're doing. Post everywhere, post often, keep making your shorts. Your shorts are great. So I have people who are hyping me up in the background, even though my content isn't seeing the numbers and it's not being pushed. And that's cool. That's not my goal. I ended up wanting to switch over to podcasting for a couple reasons. I wanted to swap my main thing over to podcasting because my goal is to make is literally very simple. My goal is to create a community by being real, being authentic, and to be able to just educate people. Because in my mind, you can, if you have to box things down, you can box things down into the 3 E's of content, while being either empathetic, being entertaining, or being educational. Most of the content realm falls into those 3 E's. And that was said to me by Bad Beer Gamer. So shout out to him. He was on the first episode of the PSP podcast. If you ever want to see that, it's a very great episode with me and the Only Shady, and Bad Bear Gamer. But how I promote myself is by networking, is by showing people that I am who I say I am, by showing people that I'm knowledgeable and I'm understanding, and that I want to listen to everybody's stories and everybody's goal. I network by talking to people. I'm the same person in person that I am online. And as Tori, you know, I'm always going to be that same person because you've seen me in person. And I speak to those creators through time and time again. And how I promote myself is just by being who I am. And I realize that for me, my goal is not to necessarily be the Kaisenet, is not to be the Queso. I just want to be Perc. I want to be Percussive 173. And however I can do that is how I'm going to grow. And if it does it on that speed. It does it on Perc's time. It does it on Perc's effort. So I grow by effort. And at some point, if I become big, cool. But that's not my goal. My goal is an entirely different thing. My goal is literally to make one person smile a day. And I don't even give a shit if I have to stream to do it. If I can post a funny clip and it resonates with people, that's all I really care about. I'm not saying that as like, because there's a lot of fake streamers who are going to say that, right? There are a lot of streamers who are going to say that, and they're going to be like, yeah, well, my goal is to make somebody smile. No, genuinely, like, my goal as a creator is to continuously put forward an appetizing field of content. And that's how I promote myself.
I'm gonna make it even shorter than that.
Sure.
I believe in just being your fucking self. And I don't even see, like, this is gonna sound skewed as fuck.
Sure.
When I fire up a game, this is how I managed to maintain streaming for as long as I have without being too burned out. If I'm playing a video game, right? To me, I don't go, okay, what do I want to do? Right? What do I, do I want to stream today? Do I not want to stream today? What I do, and of course my camera wants to start bugging. What I do is I fire up my game, and then I go, you know what? I'm just gonna go hit this live button, and I'm just gonna do what I do best. And what I do best is be me. And I firmly believe that if you cannot be yourself, come on, there, a little bit more camera. There you go. Sorry,
You're good. No worries.
Obsbot being Obsbot. If you don't know how to be yourself, then what are we doing? Right.
Right.
Because if people like to come in here and they say, "Oh, I want to be authentic. I want to be, I want to be true. I don't play favorites." Cool, fine and dandy. Practice what you preach.
Right.
Because there are people that come out here and they act one way on Twitter, and the next minute, like, they'll come out here and they'll be a complete asshole on Twitter, and they'll be an asshole on stream and whatnot, and then they expect to shake your hand and be friends with you in person. No, I'm sorry. No, I do not play that game. What you get on camera is what you get off camera. If you don't like me in person, or if you don't like me on camera, you probably won't like me in person. And I respect it. I respect it. That's part of being human. But people are, I mean, take a look around. Take a look around at the world. Not just any particular instance, just the world. And you're going to see people value authenticity and people being themselves more than anything else. Which is why traveling to conventions and having face-to-face conversations is extremely important in my book, because we live in an environment where there's a lot of people who act one way online and then they are a completely different way in person. And
can't
people like to
fake
come
an
in here, they
in-person
say,
conversation.
well, people are coming, oh, well, I'm a nice person. I just rage bait for clicks and farm views and whatnot. I was like, well, if you got to do that, do you, but I don't want that energy around me. I don't want, like, if you have to come out here and, because now at that point I'm questioning, are you really an asshole or are you actually a nice person pretending to be an asshole? Like, I don't want to have to sit there and question shit. That's too much effort. Like, if you're a nice person, I want you to be a nice person. If you want to be an asshole, okay, be an asshole. I'm not gonna like, and there's degrees of assholeness. All right, it's not talked about. There are like coming out here and calling people whores and sluts and f words and just being derogatory because of they said something you don't agree with. I don't want that energy around me. Having an actual conversation with somebody, and having polite back and forth banter and debating and whatnot. Okay, I can handle that. You're not being an asshole. You're standing on what you believe in, but you're being respectful about it. I have respect for that because that tells me you can act and be mature on an adult scale rather than dumbing yourself down to the level that everybody else is at to try to fucking get EPeen points. Like, it's just, and again, nobody's perfect. I am far from perfect. But the other thing about being able to have a face-to-face conversation is people read facial expressions. People read hand motions. People are able to tell if you're gaslighting them or if you're actually being honest. So when you go to a convention and you run into somebody who you've had a problem with or somebody that doesn't quite understand you and they go, hey, can I have a conversation with you? Can we talk about something real quick? And you go, sure, not a problem. Let's go over here. And you sit down and you actually talk. Not only did you just earn the respect of that other person, but you may have just made a friend along the way. And that's another person that's in your camp. That's another person that's in your corner. That's another person that's going to sit here and go, you know what? This person is who they say they are. They have no problem with it. And there's a lot of people, and I'm saying this from experience. There's a lot of people who will tell you that they're all about having face-to-face conversations and trying to make things right and trying to be there for people. But the moment you show up in person, they will tuck tail and run and still try to find a way to screw you over. Ask me how I know.
Well, how do you know?
Because I had to have one of my sponsors come to me at a convention and tell me that somebody who claims to be here for people tried to get me fucking canceled because I didn't agree with something that they fucking posted. And I took a step back. That view hit 20,000 viewers. It took it 10,000 views for them to try to come and do collateral damage to try to sweep it under the rug and say that I was just mad I didn't get verified, right? And then the CEO of this particular organization went to every single one of my sponsors to try to get me removed. After another person, and this is where the two-facedness comes in, came out here and made a long tweet about my behavior saying that I was holding people hostage, right? And they're entitled to their opinion. But they made a tweet, and then this person, and bear in mind, this same person who made this long tweet was also shit-talking the very people that tried to get me canceled privately. They made that tweet. The CEO took that as ammo to try to get me canceled, and only one company, decided to actually listen to them. And they removed me for a couple of months. The company that told me about this has been in my corner since I signed with them, and have made it perfectly clear that they know who I am, they know how I operate, and they don't believe in that bullshit. When you are authentic and honest, nobody, and I mean nobody, has the power to cancel you. You take it from them, and you don't give them an option but to respect who you are and how you stand up for yourself when you are who you say you are. And companies and organizations will see that and work with you on it and go, no, we know this person. This person is who they say they are. We don't trust you. And unfortunately, until people come to understand that, and until people come to understand that listening to half-baked takes and believing somebody because of, views or followers and whatnot is the most asinine, stupidest thing you can do, we're going to continue this fucking cycle.
I mean, like, there's gonna be that stuff that happens, unfortunately, like we touched on earlier. It's like, but we preach for newer creators and aspiring creators on this podcast consistently by saying we want you to we want you to be yourself. We want you to be authentic. And the moment you steer away from that is the moment things are gonna, well, fall and falter, and you're gonna lose those friendships, and you're gonna lose that stuff. And like, I pride myself in being authentically me. I pride myself on bringing people on in collaborative environments and then getting a positive review from them afterwards. It makes me happy to know that I can bring somebody onto a podcast and they could say, dude, this was amazing, this was really good, I really needed this talk, or this was amazing, you did a really good job on that, and like I really respect it. And like, I love being able to create an environment personally for them to be able to have these one-on-one types of conversations to spread positivity in any way that I know how. And that is my thing. It's what I like to hear. And if someone hates it, if someone's not having fun, then so be it. I'll try and take the constructive criticism from whatever that criticism is. And then, because we're streamers, and 95% of what streamers do is introspective work, you got to take that constructive criticism, whatever happens negatively, and try to apply it and to make it constructive for yourself, to make it positive.
I am a very firm. I see here, and here's the beautiful thing about me. I'm not positive and I'm not negative. I'm a realist.
And
I understand that. No, I understand that in order to get where you want to be in life, you're going to have to go through hell. There are going to be times, and there's going to be trials, and there's going to be tribulations, and there's going to be tasks and whatnot that you will not want to do and that you want no part of. But in order to be a better person and in order to grow, and not just in maturity, but in also your content creation or whatever, whatever life journey you are on, you're going to have to get through that hurdle to get to the sunshine and rainbows on the other side. And there's nothing saying, and people don't want to understand that, because the moment that you say that there's a problem, oh, you're negative. No, I have you stepped outside? Have you looked around? You don't have a son with a child face on it singing it to you. There's not a bunch of grown ass people in Teletubby outfits, dancing around your front door. Like, you understand as you grow older that there are always nothing. If everything is going perfectly right, my friend, you are dreaming. Wake up.
Yep.
There is no way that everything will go perfectly right for you. You will always have, it may not be now, it may not be next week, it may not be in the next few months, but at some point in your life, you will have a hurdle that you have to cross. And how you handle that hurdle is going to define who you are more than you realize. And it's going to shape the roadmap for how you tackle everything else through life. So if you come to the understanding that, yes, shit's about to hit the fan, but there is a plan to get past that and to be better and to have and to grow from this on the other side and to have that positive moment, that's what you should be looking for. That's when that maturity and that's when that growth truly comes into play. And there's a lot of people that they don't want that. They want either, oh, it's all sunshine and rainbows, or it's doom and gloom, fuck everybody. There is a middle path. There is a middle path that enhances both. That's why yin and yang exists. You can't have one without the other. You truly can't. And the moment people understand that, that is when you're going to see people emotionally and mature and be better for it. And all sense of the take. And like I said, I'm 35 years old. I'm still maturing. I'm still growing. You don't stop growing until the day you die. At that point, there's no more maturing to do. You've hit your wall. But you are constantly evolving, constantly adapting, constantly watching and learning. And there is something you can learn every day that's new. You just have to apply yourself. You have to be wanting to and willing to want to learn.
Exactly.
And people don't want to do that. People want to be stuck in their rut.
And every person is different, but speaking to every person in different ideologies is a different style of learning experience. I am a firm believer of taking the failures, because at some point you're going to fail. Everyone's going to fail. It's part of it. It's not about the failures. It's about how you handle yourself after the failures. And I like to describe it as, look at the difference between the Cleveland Browns and the Cleveland Guardians. The Cleveland Browns are going to be forever awful. They don't learn from their failures. You want to be the Cleveland Browns? Go for it. If you want to be the Cleveland Guardians, however, you learn from your mistakes. You learn from your failures. You actually sign the players. You get yourself a championship roster, and you get there like you did in 2016. And it's about how you allow yourself to get to that point to learn to become the champion. Again, people forget as streamers that growth isn't always the goal. You have to find a goal that is supposed to be right for you, and it's completely different. So, Tori, as we kind of wrap things up here, I know we talked about a lot today. Do you have any thoughts on something that you want to leave for any new and aspiring creator from a positive perspective going into the streaming world? What do you want new creators to know when they're getting ready to come into the streaming world?
All right. The only person that could stop you is yourself. The only person that you can trust to make content with is yourself. You are your own hindrance and you are your own cheerleader. In the content creation / streaming world, yes, it is beneficial to have collaborations. It is beneficial to reach out and make friends. Because honestly, that's where some of the best and most pure form of content can be found, through the laughs and the moments that you have with your friends and fellow streamers. However, there, as is very evident in the world, there are plenty of solo content creators who can make people laugh and entertain on their own without needing said help. My advice to you is, when you find that roadmap that makes you who you are, okay, don't, if people want to come out, if you want to come out here and you want to put on a facade and you want to put on a different persona, you need to make it clear that that's a different persona from who you truly are, because people will hold you to that persona rather than understand that there's a difference between the two. People appreciate authenticity. People appreciate honesty in its purest form. So don't expect help from people. When I started streaming, I had one person who helped me make some layouts, and that was about it. There's no written book for how to stream. If there is, I've yet to fucking find it. So when you come out here, be yourself, be entertaining, have fun, build that community. Don't expect people to show up for you. Don't expect people to subscribe to you. Don't expect people to donate to you. Have this mentality that you're going live and you're streaming solely for the sake of entertaining people and having fun, not only with just yourself, but potentially with other folks as well. Because the only person that you can count on is you. It all starts and stops with you. You have to put yourself in the mental mindset, hey, I'm going to go live today. I could do this. Hey, you know, I'm going to play this game today and I'm going to have fun with it. And you're going to see, and when you're starting off, my best advice to you is, when you're starting off, avoid social media. Avoid Twitter. Avoid Instagram. Put your content up there if you need to. You know, if you have clips and whatnot, upload it. Put it up there on those. But do not sit here and doom scroll through Twitter. You will not like what you see. Do not sit here and doom scroll through Instagram. Do not sit here and doom scroll through TikTok, because you're going to see so many difference of opinions. Oh, this is a dead game. Oh, only people. You're going to see so much hatred and bigotry and people trying to manipulate opinions that you're going to sit here and debate with yourself. Okay, if I'm doing this, does it make sense to make content out of this? No. Okay, well then what can I do? And you're going to base your content off of what others think. And that's not always a good thing. When you fire up your stream, this is what I want to play. I'm going to have fun playing this. I'm going to try to, you know, if I can find out when people that I enjoy playing the game with are on, I'm going to try to hang out with them and have fun. I'm going to be here to interact with the people within my stream. because they took the time to show up for me, and they're the ones that matter. So I'm going to be here to entertain them and have fun with them. And when I go offline, it's going to be a brand new day. I'm going to be able to upload all the content that I had, all the clips that I made, and I'm going to be able to come back in tomorrow, refreshed, restarted, and I'm going to understand that at the end of the day, there's grass outside. I'm going to be able to go outside and touch it, and I'm not going to be able to not worry about all the things that are on the internet. You will make mistakes. There is no percentage on chance of that. You will make mistakes. But like I said, it takes a mature being to admit when we are wrong and to apologize and to move forward in the hope and then the concept that we could be better human beings for it. And it's not hard to be a nice human being. People appreciate somebody who's truthfully, unapologetically themselves and is willing to admit when they fuck up. Be yourself. Own your shit. Take responsibility for everything. Understand nothing is owed to you. And that every day is another day and another blessing to be able to come on here and enjoy a passion, not a job. Because remember what I told you, if you treat it like a job, you're going to burn out pretty quick. Treat it like a passion. And you will never get tired of doing this, ever. You may have to change up games. That's fine. That's normal. That's what we do. We change up the games. We do community nights. We bring in more people to have more fun. But if you do this because you love to do it, not because you feel like you have to do it, you will never grow old of this. And then at the end of the day, you will leave satisfied and hungry to come back and do it again tomorrow. And there's a lot of people out here who I've seen. Tim Sanity, for one. I've seen Laney Talks. I've seen Chops X, I Samwise. There's a lot of people out here that have a low viewer count, and it doesn't stop them from having fun. It truly doesn't. That's the mentality you need to have. Forget about the statistics. It will come. The numbers will come when you take care of your people, when you show that you are there for the people who are showing up for you, when you make time for those people and you engage with those people, and you have conversations. It doesn't have to be about life. It can be about food. It can be about the game you're playing. It can be about your personal opinions on a new update that came out. When you are engaging with the people in your chat who've made time that day for you, they will see who you are. They will understand what you're trying to accomplish, and they will want you to succeed, which in turn will cause them to go out here on these platforms. They'll start advocating for you. Hey, my boy is over here getting ready to go live on Kick. Hey, my lady's over here. She's about to go live on TikTok. Y'all need to tune in. This is what's going on. This is what's happening. And more people are going to start rallying to your cause. And then your numbers are going to start growing because others are going to start seeing in you what those people saw in you. And it's not going to happen overnight. It's not going to happen next week. You're going to have to keep that effort going day in, day out, night in, night out. It's not just a 9 to 5 for some, like it is for some people. You're going to have to keep that same energy. Take a chance on these conventions. Apply to Loot Fest, apply to DreamHack, apply to Midwest Fest whenever it comes back, apply to GCX, apply to these conventions. Start putting a name to a face if you can afford it. Do not go financially bankrupt trying to do this. But I personally believe if you are not at least setting enough money aside to be able to attend one of these conventions, you're handicapping yourself. Because people love to see in person a name to a face that they are used to seeing online. And it's only going to help your cause, because then now they can ask you face to face, hey, I see you're doing this. What do you think? They can start asking you the questions and start looking. I told you, facial and hand gestures mean a lot to people. They read and they can see that emotion. They can see that passion. Make time to at least make one convention a year. You don't have to do multiple like I do. I've gone to both DreamHacks. I've gone to Loot Fest. When Midwest Fest was around, I went to Midwest Fest. But at least try to attend one convention a year so people can put a name to a face and they can start asking you stuff. And when you go to these conventions, view it as a business opportunity. Go out here, talk to these investors, talk to these companies, see what you can do like promote yourself. You are your own brand at the end of the day. If you are not promoting yourself and you're not saying, hey, this is what I can do for you, right? The opportunities are going to be very short and very minimal. So take the time to be able to come out here and promote yourself. Hey, this is what I can provide. This is I know this is my average view count right now. I know this is what I'm doing, but if you invest in me and you take time to believe in me, I'm going to be able to do this, this, and this. I'm going to be able to promote your product. I'm going to be able to do multiple shorts, content, and whatnot with your product. I'm going to be able to come out here and I'm going to be able to raise awareness for this product. And in turn, that's going to send people over to your website. They should be able to buy product. And that's what people are going to look for. The last thing I'd say is don't ever take the easy way out. I don't have to sit here and elaborate to all of you what's been going on Twitter, between the view bots, between, let's break it down. We have Twitch talking about not counting lurkers, right? And people getting a tizzy about that. We got Kick announcing that it's going to start removing KPP people because of falsely generated numbers, view botting, so on and so forth. Do not let what is going on in the world of content creation and streaming dictate your personality and how you operate, which ties it back to the first step. Be yourself. If it doesn't affect you, if it's not affecting people coming to your stream, if it's not affecting people watching your content on multiple platforms, don't worry about it. Be cognizant. There's nothing wrong with knowing what's going on, but do not make it your personality to sit here and have to feel like you have to take up the white shield of the Templars and go to war every day. And this is coming from somebody who did that for over 1.5 to 2 years. That was my entire personality for a hot minute, was coming out here and berating people for fucking just doing nothing but emote spamming 24/7, not coming in and having any conversation, for having 300-400 viewers and nobody talking in chat other than, $20 artwork. Like, I made that my whole personality for 2 years. And you know where it got me? Nowhere. It did nothing for me. So why spend energy on something when there's no return? There's nothing to gain from it other than heartache, mental hardship, and grief. Don't do it. Don't do it. Focus that energy into entertaining others, being there for the people who make time for you, and just having fun. And I assure you, everything else will come in line soon enough.
Absolutely couldn't have said it better. Oh, go for it. Sorry.
And as I've told all of my regulars, my DMs are constantly open. I leave myself available. If I know you're not a bot, because I do get the messages from people, hey man, I was watching your stream. I didn't want to say anything, but how long you been streaming? Don't be a stranger. Come talk to me in stream. If you want to throw theories or you want to do something, hit up the Discord, hit up the DMs on Twitter. I make myself available to everybody because there are people, because of the reputation that I have now garnered for myself, unfortunately, there are people who are very skittish to come and approach me and I've had somebody tell me this. They go, you look meaner on camera than you do in person. And I go, well, I'm sorry. I get it. I grew a beard and I got this resting biatch face. Like, I get it. I'm sorry. But
from experience, he's not scary in person.
I might look like the wolf that's about to rip you limb from limb, but on the inside, I'm a giant fucking teddy bear. I am a giant teddy bear until provoked. Once provoked, all bets are off. But I have come a long way from where I once was. And I truly do want to see everybody succeed. But I also want to see people do it the right way. Right. I want to see people do it the right way without compromising who they are as a person.
Bingo.
So I'm always here to have a conversation. I've never shied away from one. But protect your energy and be true to who you are as a person. It's the best thing I could tell you.
My response to everything that you said is you're 100% correct. And I could not have said it better myself. And my last piece of advice that I want to leave anyone who is aspiring to get into content creation is just to echo everything that what Tori said. Be yourself, be authentic, most importantly, have fun, because there's only one streaming journey, and it's what you are going to make of it. That's my lasting advice. So, ladies and gentlemen, let's give it up for Tori here. I appreciate you so much, Tori, for popping onto the PSP podcast. And anybody who is in my side of chat, or anybody who sees this podcast and is not following Tori, please make sure you are heading over, give him some love, show him some love, tell him you came from the podcast, tell him you saw it on Spotify, or tell him you saw it wherever it was. And thank you so much, Tori, for coming through and sharing your journey, man. Like, and sharing your wisdom and like literally giving us your all and your energy. And I appreciate you so much for who you are. As you know, like, I genuinely appreciate for you, who one of the people who does believe in me. So I really truly appreciate you popping on and hanging out and taking the time out of your busy schedule.
You asked me to be on the podcast, and I make time for people who want me to be a part of what they have going on. You know, that's the beauty of what we get to do. Is I have not been on a podcast since I stopped my own, because of the fact that I just was being so talkative on Twitter here lately. I have been very vehement on a lot of things, and I took a giant step back from trying to be as audible on a lot of those things here lately. But when I'm asked if I want to be a part of something, I have no problem doing it. Because I do believe that forms of communication such as this is very imperative to how we grow, not only as streamers, but as human beings.
Absolutely.
And being able to share thoughts and opinions and show the maturity and the growth that we've had over time from where we used to be might be able to help people understand that even at people my age, at 35, we still have an opportunity to adapt and to grow from where we used to be. And that's what means the most. So thank you for having me on board. And I'll always believe in people who are genuine, who genuinely want what's right.
And I appreciate the hell out of you. And as always, ladies and gentlemen, I'm your host, Percussive173, reminding you all to stay grinding, to stay inspired, and most of all, keep spreading positivity with the best that you know how. And until next time, everybody, ladies and gentlemen, this is the PSP Podcast. We'll be back tomorrow. Doses!